Hey everyone, I'm Jaden.
I'm Noah.
We are the Super Gamer Bros, and this is the Super Gamer Bros podcast. We're just a couple of brothers who love playing games and love talking about games, so that's what we do. So today, Noah, we are talking about Spider-Man Miles Morales.
That's true. When this game was announced, obviously as uh, like a semi-sequel to Spider-Man 2018 developed by Insomniac, and this game is of course developed by the same studio. Um, it had a lot of controversy when it was announced because people were upset that it wasn't a full sequel. They thought they were charging kind of like AA game price for what would be DLC content. Having played that, I felt like the game was plenty worth the money and I completely enjoyed my time. I think it's a fantastic addition to the canon of the first game, and I'm excited to see where it goes in the next game. Jaden.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, people were mad about that. People were also mad about Spider-Man, Peter Parker's face.
Yes, I know
That's as
you were
much.
mad about it.
Uh, I think it's dumb. I
Is there a reason?
Well, they said because of the PS5 with like the more advanced facial animations, the previous head model they used did not match up well enough with Yuri Lowenthal's facial movements. So this new guy they got matched up better. That's their reasoning.
Why is Yuri Lilin? I'm confused. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, in most games, when they have um like voice actors, and they do like a lot of like the motion capture and performance capture, and they have the camera like that's right in front of the person's face, they can get the more minute facial movements. Well, to avoid having the game characters look like the voice actors, therefore having Troy Baker appear physically in every game that exists, and Laura Bailey, they instead they will get a face model who whose face matches up with the voice actors and with like the facial movement stuff, so they can have a completely different face, but the facial movements are still very precise and dynamic. Abby from The Last of Us 2 is an example of that. Like she had a face model, and a lot of other people do it. I can't. Those are the only two examples I could name, but it's a common thing. But anyway, yeah, they thought the face model didn't match up with the facial animations enough, so they changed it to a new guy. I personally don't think that reason is actually the reason. A lot of other people don't think that reason is actually the reason, and it doesn't help that the new face looks a lot closer to like Tom Holland's face.
I did not feel that way when I looked at it.
I can see, like, I mean, it's a different person, it is a different face. I can absolutely see why people would think that, and thinking that they did it to just kind of make it look like Tom Holland because obviously the MCU, and Tom Holland is very big as Spider-Man right now. I I honestly don't know. Like,
I just don't think that makes sense. It's not like Tom Holland's Spider-Man needs a boost in popularity.
well, no, it's a boost for their game.
It's not like their game needed a boost either. I don't think like that's a weird thing. I don't think I
I don't
just
know.
that's a weird thing. Like you're assuming like what a Disney executive is putting their hand on it and
Well, it could have
saying
been a
change
Sony.
this.
It could have been a Sony executive. Like, Spider-Man is owned
Uh,
by Sony. I honestly like just the reason of like the facial animations to me, as a person who knows literally nothing about video game development and how those facial animations do work, it just doesn't sound. I don't know, to me, it just doesn't make sense. Because I also think, why would you pick this guy? And if you want to have someone whose facial animations match up more with Yuri Lowenthal, why not just use Yuri Lowenthal's face? Maybe young him down a bit.
Yuri Lowenthal doesn't look like Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, you could say neither does the first guy. Like, there's never been a Peter Parker that looked like that before, and that was a reason I liked the first one so much. It was a different looking Peter Parker, and honestly, like, I thought they had based his face off of Yuri Lowenthal's in the original to begin with.
I think it's not really that important.
I
It's a
agree.
digitized
We've
adaptation
already,
of Peter Parker.
we've already talked about this more than I really wanted to and intended to, but I don't like. I don't care. That's at the end of the day, I really don't care. Like it's in this game, he's in it for. If you want to even get super specific, his face is in it for all of 2 minutes. So who cares? But
That's not true. He had a lot. They forced a lot of out of costume scenes in these games.
but
Less so in Miles.
in Miles Morales, he's not in it that much. Like Peter's not.
Oh,
Like if you play
yeah,
the
my bad.
remastered Spider-Man,
Yeah,
you are
that's what I was
correct. But
thinking about.
I didn't play that. So like I said, I saw his face for 2 minutes and that was it. I moved on with my life. Yeah, I was thinking earlier, when I was making this document here of the best way to compare Miles Morales, like to another game in another franchise. And I guess the best I could think of was God of War Chains of Olympus and God of War Ghost of Sparta, where it's a canon game, but it's a side game. It's shorter. That's the only game I could really come up with,
There's plenty
especially.
of games like that. What about that Wolfenstein game that came out a few years ago?
Oh yeah, you're right. What was that? The uh
Young Blood.
young no.
Yeah, because it's their daughters.
I didn't know that. I didn't play Youngblood. I don't own
I
Youngblood.
didn't either, but
No, I
I
thought you were
suck at
talking
it.
about what was it, like the old blood? Because there's Wolfenstein: The New Order, and then there's Wolfenstein New, like the New Colossus, and then in between them there was like the old blood or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel
Was
like
that a
that's
small spin-off game? I mean, I played it. It felt just like the other two, but
yeah, but it wasn't like a direct sequel. It was like a
yeah, I
shorter,
wasn't a
smaller
personal
game.
fan. If you ever play it, we can talk about it, but ugh.
Yeah. But either way,
I might
it's like
take a lot of flack for that actually. Wolfenstein's a very old series. Take that out. Take that out in post.
I'm not. Dude, it's you weren't playing the original Wolfenstein. I feel like the new ones don't have
That's true.
as
You're
much
right.
fanfare. No, but yeah, especially since the new sequel is Spider-Man 2. It's like a side story game. But it is like canon and everything, which is fine. I played it and I got my enjoyment out of it. I was fine with the price that you paid for it.
Yeah. I actually I don't know what it was. I might have seen too many swinging videos on YouTube of Miles swinging in different costumes, and I was like, damn, I gotta get it and I gotta play it. And so I bought it full price.
So anyway,
I played it on PS4, by the way.
yes, you did. Let's just get it. Let's just get into the game with the setting. So the game takes place in Manhattan, New York City, which houses 9 districts. It's the exact same map as the first Spider-Man game, which is not a bad thing. It's a very big map to begin with, and I don't really see. I mean, it's New York. I don't know enough about New York to know how they could make it bigger. But there's Central Park, Chinatown, Financial District, Greenwich, Harlem, Hell's Kitchen, Midtown, Upper East, and Upper West Side. This game actually features a much larger focus on Harlem than the other districts. Like Miles lives in Harlem, makes a lot of friends in Harlem. Like the game is very even the main story all revolves around Harlem. Very different from Spider-Man PS4. Because that one was about New York City as a whole. There was not really one district that was specified of having to be saved, but this game really does focus on Harlem.
It does. It's like the Luke Cage Netflix show. It's really all about that gritty neighborhood Spider-Man vibe, and I do enjoy that for a time.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was cool. I don't know.
Yeah, where all the villains though?
Huh?
I said where all the villains though?
Yeah, there's anyway.
No,
You cut out there. Were you saying something?
I just said no
Oh, okay.
because I'm upset because there were no villains.
Anyways, I mean, you're wrong. We played the same game. Like you told me that before I played it, and then I played it, and I was like, I don't get what he's talking about. So, after more than a year of training under Peter Parker, Miles Morales has mastered his spider-like abilities. Oh, we're talking about the story now, and established himself as the original Spider-Man's crime-fighting partner, though he still struggles to adapt to his new role. While escorting a police convoy carrying prisoners to the rebuilt Raft prison, Miles accidentally frees Rhino, who wreaks havoc in Harlem. While Miles stops the other escapees, Peter struggles against Rhino, who eventually overpowers him. Miles intervenes and defeats Rhino with his new bioelectric ability, later dubbed Venom Blast. Leaving Rhino in Roxxon's custody, Peter informs Miles that he will be assisting his girlfriend, Daily Bugle reporter Mary Jane Watson, with her assignment in Symkaria for a few weeks as her photographer, and entrusts Miles to look after the city in his absence.
Already?
Pause.
Yeah, already. I want to talk about how I hate the opening.
Really?
Oh yeah. First of all, how do you open with Peter getting his ass beat?
I did think that was. I'm like, he has beaten this guy. He beat this guy with Scorpion. He
Right, like
like
this
beat
doesn't
like
make any sense at all.
yeah. It was kind of like felt
He was
story
like
story forced.
on the brink of death.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, this is just a side thing. Symkaria, that's where Silver Sable is from, right?
I don't know. I only heard about Silver Sable in the last game.
Yeah, I feel like that's where she's from, but it's really does not matter. It is not that big a deal.
Somebody out there who's an intense Silver Sable fan is like, it matters, you fucking asshole. It's
Yeah.
Symkaria.
Yeah. Anyway, so while investigating a break-in at the Roxxon Plaza, Miles crashes with a group called the Underground, who have a vendetta against the company. Returning home to celebrate Christmas with his mother, Rio Morales, and his best friend slash confidant, Genki Lee, Miles is surprised to learn that Rio also invited his former best friend, Finn Mason, with whom he has not spoken to in over a year. The next day, Genki creates a Spider-Man app so citizens can call Miles for help directly. Miles' uncle, Aaron Davis, is the first to use it and reveals his knowledge of his nephew's identity to Miles. Later, Miles attends one of Rio's campaign rallies, but witnesses the Underground attacking the Roxxon guards present and tries to stop the conflict before it escalates. He soon discovers that the Underground are seeking Roxxon's experimental power source, New Form, and that Finn is their leader, the Tinkerer. So after further investigation, Miles learns that Finn wants to avenge the death of her brother, Rick Mason, who was poisoned while working on New Form and killed by Roxxon head of development, Simon Krieger, after attempting to sabotage the project. With assistance from Aaron, who he learns is the villain thief known as the Prowler, Miles discovers Finn's plan to ruin Roxxon by destroying their plaza with New Form to highlight its dangerous side effects, which Krieger had been covering up. Second pause. I like Finn as the Tinkerer. It's a pretty cool kind of reference to the comics.
What do you mean?
Well, in the comics, the Tinkerer is actually the father of Rick Mason. So this
That
is
is
just
really cool.
yeah, just a nice little twist there
That is
on
cool.
the same like yeah lore.
I did not enjoy it. I thought it felt forced. She didn't feel like,
The Finn thing.
yeah, she didn't feel like a villain. I thought she was very underwhelming, especially her fights and whatnot. And I kept just being like, why is she involved? You know, like
The story for Miles Morales, I feel like, was trying to kind of have that same vibe as Spider-Man PS4, and it did not. Like, it felt kind of forced in some ways, like with Finn returning at the same time that she's the Tinkerer. It didn't feel like natural, like Otto Octavius's turn in Spider-Man. It definitely did feel more forced. I can see what you mean.
right. But one thing that did happen in that chapter that I do enjoy is the Prowler. I was excited to see the Prowler in this game.
I was also very excited to see the Prowler. I love the Prowler. There are many different, not many. There are a few different iterations of him in the comics, and I think the Aaron Davis Prowler is my favorite, especially because he is Miles' uncle, so it's like having this villain as his uncle.
Well, he's more of an anti-hero, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say he's not like die hard villain. He's not like Kingpin or
Right. I mean, I felt like in
Scorpion or
this
them.
game, I felt like he was an anti-hero. I mean, he did a lot more helping than he did hurting.
Well, I think that was more the fact that Miles was family than he was being a good person. I think he was watching out for his family rather than like wanting to stop Roxxon because It
Well,
was the
yeah,
right
but
thing to do.
Catwoman doesn't save random people. She saves Batman
Well,
because
well, she also like
she's
you
an
know she's
anti-hero.
nice when she steals and stuff, and she gives to
No, she's
charity.
not. She like kills people.
I I
Gives
don't.
to charity. What kind of rendition of Catwoman?
It was the Injustice comic and the Batman TV series.
Uh, After betraying Finn's trust in order to gather new information on the Underground, Miles is eventually forced to reveal his identity to her, souring their friendship. Miles tries to reconcile with Finn, but Roxxon abducts them with the aid of an enhanced rhino. Miles and Finn escape, but Miles learns that Aaron has also been spying on him for Roxxon, and that Krieger modified the Plaza's new form reactor to destroy Harlem if Finn's plan succeeds. Finn and Miles fight the enhanced Rhino, who taunts Finn about Rick's death. She almost kills him, but Miles intervenes, and the two fight before Finn knocks Miles out and escapes. Genki brings an injured Miles home, where Rio discovers her son's identity and continues to support him. Once he recovers, Miles tries to stop Finn. However, he is captured by Aaron, who takes him underground to prevent him from being killed like his father, Jefferson Davis, in Spider-Man 2018. Miles escapes and defeats his uncle, explaining that he cannot turn his back on people when they need him because he's Spider-Man. I'm going to start a thing that Insomniac can't keep their secret identity secret. At the end of Spider-Man 2018, everybody knew that Peter was Spider-Man, and at the end of this game, everybody knew that Miles was Spider-Man.
Okay, for Spider-Man 2018, who is everybody? It's like
Everybody who is close to Peter.
so Octavius
And
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 Miles.
Aunt May
Yeah,
and
but she
Miles.
knew. Like he didn't tell her.
No,
She
she
knew.
didn't know.
She said she knew.
She was dead. She took a guess.
Okay, whatever. I think I think Peter's better at keeping a secret than Miles is. But
That's true. He told Finn too.
yeah. But
Didn't
anyway,
Yankee find out in this game?
no, Genki already knew.
Okay.
Like Genki is like an established
Is
comics character
Genki,
as his
is he
friend and like
really? I was
assistant.
gonna say, is he a version of the Tom Holland's friend buddy dude?
No, actually, Tom Holland's friend is a version of him, like Ned, I think is his name in the movie.
Yeah, okay, cool. That's
Because
interesting. I'll
yeah,
take
Genki
that out in
existed in
post.
the comics. You know, he like yeah, he's like his assistant and stuff. Miles is like friend, assistant, helps him like because they're both very good with technology and stuff. So he's kind of like the eyes in the sky kind of guy, or the guy in the chair, as Ned calls it in Homecoming.
I thought it was the
Uh,
guy in the van.
no, it's the guy. I don't know.
Oh,
But
not in that. I was thinking about Sly Cooper.
no, but because in the comics, as far as I'm aware, and I mean, every pretty much every iteration of Peter Parker up until Homecoming, he didn't have an assistant. He didn't have anyone helping him. It was him doing it all himself.
Yeah, that's what makes him endearing.
Yeah, but Miles has, I don't know about always, but for a long time has had Genki. Yeah, I would say Ned, if anything, was based off of Genki, which actually is funny. A little fun fact for anyone who doesn't know. In Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Genki is a character in that. Just Miles' roommate, and he was actually going to play a larger role in the film, but due to Ned's existence in Homecoming, they didn't want to seem like a copycat in Spider-Verse, so they cut all of his lines
That's stupid.
and made him just like not a character. Which I get it. Anyway, you want to continue the story?
While the Underground and Roxxon fight on the streets, and Finn executes her plan, Aaron, inspired by his nephew's words, helps Rio evacuate Harlem, giving Miles a chance to confront Finn and stop the new form reactor before it goes critical. Unable to reason with her, Miles fights Finn before attempting to absorb the new form's energy to negate the blast. However, there's too much energy, and Miles is unable to contain it. To save the city, Finn sacrifices herself by flying him to a safe distance above the city so that he can release the energy before it kills him. Miles plummets to the ground, and his identity is revealed to a small number of citizens he helped as Spider-Man, who promised to keep his secret. 4 weeks later, Roxxon has been dealt numerous lawsuits, and Krieger has been arrested following Aaron turning himself in and testifying against them. See, he's a good guy. Peter returns from Symkaria and praises Miles for his growth and heroism before they head off to fight crime together. In a mid-credit scene, Norman Osborn orders a reluctant Dr. Kirk Connors to release his terminally ill son Harry from a stasis pod in spite of his unstable condition. In a post-credit scene, Miles leaves an award he won with Finn atop Trinity Church in her memory.
I like the ending.
I didn't see that was Kirk Connors.
It's just like you seeing it, like through like Harry's point of view, and like I think if you have subtitles on, it says like Dr. Connors or something. It might even say Kurt Connors, but then at one point as well, Norman calls him like says like, "Oh, I don't care, Kurt," or something like that. I remember that, and it was like I had to my girlfriend because she was like watching with me. I was like, "Oh, it's the lizard."
That is really cool.
Yeah.
See,
So,
that's the kind of villains I wanted to be in the game.
well, I think
Yeah, I
it's
wanted like Miles to have to fight one of Peter's old villains, like
Well,
Craven or something.
I mean, I feel like they specifically probably wanted to avoid that, if I had to guess.
Well, I'm sure they want to save it
Yeah, all
for
like I
when
mean,
they're both there.
yeah, potentially. But no, I like the story. It's very short. Like it is a very short game. The first Spider-Man 2018 is split into like 3 acts, and this Miles Morales is funny because playing through the story, you can kind of see where they also split it into 3 acts, but they're just so short in comparison.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought the story was fine. I enjoyed it. I couldn't stop playing it when I was playing it, just like Spider-Man 2018. And my only problem with it is I felt like it was a little watered down.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, we're talking about this being a side game. I like that this game exists because this is kind of like Miles' origin story game, which is nice because then they don't have to waste any time with that in Spider-Man 2.
That's true. They don't have to waste time like explaining his powers and learning how to
Yeah.
do any blah 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 blah.
Like you can jump into they can jump in the first mission in Spider-Man 2. You're playing as Miles. He has the Venom abilities. He is really good at being Spider-Man. He has his suit. He has all this stuff, and they don't have to do a single thing to explain it because it's like if you don't get it, hey, play this game, stupid. That's it.
Well, no, they'll still have like a tutorial at the beginning
Well,
because
yeah,
you
but they
want
won't have to
anybody to be able to pick
they
it
won't have
up.
to explain how he can do it or anything like that. Same with the invisibility. I mean,
Well,
obviously
they'll
they'll
do a
have a
throwaway
tutorial.
line.
Yeah,
They'll
they
be
will
like,
do.
"Hey, remember that Venom you learned how to do?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably. But
Use that on this dummy."
yeah, it's like they only have to do a throwaway line compared to like spending multiple hours in the story kind of developing that stuff, which is one of the reasons that I absolutely am fine with the fact that this game does exist.
Yeah, but that being said, like if you're saying that this game being a little lackluster to make the next game better, the next game better be great.
I think it will be great.
And I'm not saying it wouldn't be, but it
And
has to push
also,
the
I
bar.
mean, you're saying lackluster. I didn't think this game was lackluster at all. I just think
No,
it
I
was.
mean like it literally lacked luster.
Oh,
Like it
okay.
was great. There was just no luster. No luster dust on that bitch. It wasn't shining.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But the costumes were cool.
The costumes were cool.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get into gameplay.
How many years do you think we're gonna be saying this line?
Combat is similar to Batman Arkham
Yeah,
until someone comes up with a better combat system.
right.
Like, let me tell you, in the future, when we talk about Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad versus the Justice League, I think we'll be saying it again. Or Suicide Squad kill the Justice League.
You think it's gonna be something else entirely?
No, I'm saying we'll be saying this again.
Oh, like
Combat is similar. So
similar to
combat is
Arkham?
similar to Batman Arkham, but it's much more like fluid in this game. So Miles has array of gadgets and moves he can use to attack enemies. This game, compared to Arkham, uses a dodge instead of a counter. But it's kind of the same system with using, Batman just kind of having a sixth sense compared to Spider-Man literally having a sixth sense in Spider Sense, of like being able to tell when enemies are attacking you, dodge at the right time, then you can attack back. Yeah, that's it. So there is a skill tree system for all his new abilities. Little side note about this, different to the original Spider-Man 2018, because in Spider-Man 2018, New Game Plus was not included initially. You require New Game Plus to get all the skills, and I don't like that.
I don't like that either. Don't force players to play your game again.
it's like the top ability for each one.
Give them the option. If your game is good, they'll want to play it again, but
Yeah.
don't force them to. Like when I'm playing games with Paige, I say this all the time. Have a button, hold to skip for every cutscene. I don't care how much work you put into it. It might be the 50th time I'm playing. Put it in.
I think it's okay if it's not there the first time, but every time after that, it should be there. Because I mean, there have definitely been a lot of games I've played where the first time you cannot skip through the cutscene, but the second and any subsequent time after that you can, and that's fine.
All right, continue.
Anyway, so Venom replaces the focus ability from Spider-Man 2018. Side note, I hate that it's called Venom. It's really going to be confusing when Venom shows up in Spider-Man 2. And I just think it doesn't make sense for what the ability is. Like, it's bioelectricity.
Yeah, they should have called it bioelectricity or bioshock or something like that.
Literally anything to do
copyright.
with electricity in the name, not, Venom. But I digress. So Venom replaces the focus ability. You can spend 1 bar of Venom to do one of several attacks. There is Venom Punch, Venom Smash, Venom Jump, and Venom Dash. You can also use the Venom bars to heal yourself, like with Focus in Spider-Man 2018. And with all 3 bars, later in the game, once you unlock it, the Mega Venom Blast, which replaces the suit power ability from Spider-Man 2018. You also have active camouflage, ability to turn invisible, mainly for stealth scenarios. You can use it in normal combat, but I really only used it in stealth. So let's pause. Noah, what did you think of Venom in comparison to original Spider-Man 2018?
I think it was pretty similar in the sense that I almost never fucking used it. I never used it in the first game and I never used it in this game. I would find myself stacked with Venom and I'm like, I just don't need it. I also felt that way about the gadgets. When I'm in combat, I'm mostly just doing melee and dodging.
I 100% completely disagree with you. In Spider-Man 2018, I did not use the suit abilities at all because I would either heal or there weren't the suit abilities I thought were cool, but there weren't too many that I would I cared for. They really very much seem supplementary, but in Miles Morales, they do kind of force you to use them a bit because some enemies you have to attack with Venom. At least it makes your life a lot easier if you do. And also, I did get all the trophies in this game. And there are several trophies for using the different Venom abilities, which I actually like because it made me use them more initially when I wasn't. And then I was like, oh, okay, these are actually really useful, and I use them a lot more. And then you said about the gadgets. So Miles Morales has a third of the gadgets that are in Spider-Man 2018. He has the basic web shooters, the holo drone, which throws out a little holographic drone that fights with you. The remote mine, which is you throw it and it creates an electric shockwave at the press of a button. And then the gravity well, which pulls enemies together. In Spider-Man 2018, I used the gadgets a lot. Not all of them. There were some that I never used, but there were quite a few that I was using in every fight, every stealth scenario. I was using them a
the
lot.
big web.
Yeah, the web blast, I think it is. And there's a trip mine, there's the web shooters, even just the basic web shooters, I used a lot more. I pretty much never used them in Miles Morales. I don't really know why. I just didn't. I think it definitely I think comes to the fact that I do not really like any of the options in Miles Morales compared to Spider-Man 2018. Using the web shooters to stick enemies to walls and stuff. I did that all the time in Spider-Man 2018. In combat, that was one of my favorite things to do. But I probably was 75% of the way through this game before I even did it once, and that was because I had to in a random crime for a token. And that was the only time I ever did it in the entire game too.
I used the basic web shooters a lot just because it's easy. It's to tap a button. It's like a batarang,
all
type
of them,
of attack.
Yeah, all of them are a tap of button when you switch. You have to switch over to it and make it the active gadget, but they're all the tap of
Yeah,
button.
but they all don't work as well. The basic web shooters do one thing and it's exactly what I want them to do, and then I can stick anybody anywhere. It's easy. I've done it 100 times in the other game. The other things all suck in my opinion. The remote the remote mine is most useful, and that's itself is only useful in stealth situations.
Yeah, and plus to actually take enemies out with it, you have to stick it to like a fuse box or something, which is a aspect I did not like.
Right, exactly.
Uh, but yeah, that's basic combat. I mean, the overall bare bones combat is the exact same as Spider-Man 2018. It's just the Venom and the gadgets are the differences. But I do think they make it, stand out. Like the Venom itself really makes this combat stand out in comparison to Spider-Man 2018, in my opinion.
I agree that it does feel unique. Like playing as Miles feels different than playing as Peter.
Yeah. Noah, do you want to talk about
I'll
traversal?
talk about traversal. Spider-Man uses his webs to swing across the buildings in New York. In this game, uh, his web automatically locks onto a certain point in the world that is solid matter that is the anchor. So it's supposed to be, somewhat realistic. He also can use his webs to slingshot him forward and sometimes go through openings. He can also wall climb and run on walls, both vertically and horizontally. He can also do he has a lot of skills from Spider-Man 2018 just in base, like the I can't remember if this one was in base, but the one I really liked is the super jump. Basically, when you zip to a point and you press X at the moment you land and you have a super leap.
That is there, yes.
Yeah. And so basically all of this combined, just like Spider-Man 2018, just like Spider-Man 2 will be, it is the meat and potatoes of this game to me. I love getting from point A to point B. I just love swinging around the city. I think it's one of the most fun aspects of this game.
No, I absolutely agree. I do have two comments about traversal comparing the two games. One, this description you just read, Noah, is literally copy pasted from the Spider-Man 2018 document.
Okay.
So I did not notice this, but the slingshotting through openings does not work in Miles Morales.
It does. It worked for me, but you have to hold L2 aim, and then it will the cursor will change when you're highlighting it. And zipping to a point in this game was a struggle for me up until the last stealth challenge, and then I finally figured out how zipping to a point works in this game.
I think overall zipping to a point in the game is the exact same. I guess it's just going through having to hold and lock, like hold and aim it a bit
Yeah, you have
is
to hold
different.
and aim it. It's not like I felt like in Spider-Man 2018, it was more like tapping both at the same time
That's
and
how it works
pointing
to
the
zip to
screen.
that's how it works in this game to zip to a random point, same as Spider-Man 2018, but actually zipping like going like through a water tower, like through a pipe. I guess I never tried it, but in Spider-Man 2018, it is the same thing. It's just the tab of button. You just have to make sure you're aiming, like the cursor is aiming at that. But in Miles Morales, it never aims at that automatically, which is annoying. As I guess you actually can do it, you just have to aim yourself, which
Yeah, I
whatever.
definitely did it.
Like I did it like once, sort of, in the opening mission, but that's a scripted thing.
Yeah, no, mine
Um,
was I was on one of the water towers for the stealth mission, and I just kept going through it because I did that stealth mission like 30 times.
Oh, and then my second comment, just one thing I like is his animations while swinging are very fun because they're nowhere near as graceful as Peter, which I like because it just goes to show his lack of experience compared to Peter with web swinging.
I love it. I also like his unique movements on his attacks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying. Anyway, additional gameplay stuff: suit and visor mods. So suit mods return from the original game, as well as the additional visor mods, which are basically the same thing. Basically, they're just little abilities that you unlock, and um, you unlock suit and visor mods with the different suits in the game, which is different from 2018, where the suits unlock the suit abilities, and the mods you just have to create. In Miles Morales, you do get 4 total. You get 2 each, which is up from in 2018 you only got 3 suit mods total. I basically use the same 4 for the entire game.
Me too.
Suits. There's a lot of cool new suits. Not as much as Spider-Man 2018, but there's still a decent amount. Like it's probably 20, around 20.
I got my two favorites ready.
All right, what are your 2 favorites?
My first favorite is the Prowler one, that you get when you finish Aaron's quest. And then my second favorite is the gold one.
Oh, like the gold variant of the normal costume.
Is it the one that's all gold?
Is there one that's all gold?
I thought there was one that was mostly gold.
Well, there's
I was
like
pretty sure. Or is it black, mostly black and then the spider's gold?
it's mostly black and the spider and like webbing is gold.
Ah, damn, then
Like
I guessed that one.
it's called like Harlem's favorite or something like that.
Ah, yeah, that's it. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's just his basic suit, but he also has but the wherever the basic suit is red, that one is gold.
Right. What's yours?
I guess if I were to pick two, I'm gonna pick three. One, the programmable matter suit is really cool.
Is that the green one?
No, it's the like gray kind of pixely looking one.
Okay.
Really hard to explain, I guess. And then there's the bodega cat suit.
Oh shit, I just remembered what my actual favorite one is. It's the one I use the entire time. It's the 2020.
Oh, Miles Morales 2020.
Yeah.
That's a
Is it
cool
what?
one.
Yeah, wasn't that Insomniac's?
Huh?
Was that Insomniac's design?
An original design? I have no idea.
Yeah, I thought it might have been.
I assumed it was from a comic or something.
All right. Yeah,
But,
okay,
it's
continue.
that is a cool one. The bodega cat suit I love because he's got a backpack with a cat wearing a Spider-Man mask in it.
It's very cute.
And one thing that like the bodega cat suit and the programmable matter suit, I don't know about many of the others, because I did not experience this, but when you use like a takedown, uh, sometimes the suits will have specific animations for that suit. Like the programmable matter suit being programmable matter, like meaning you can change the appearance pretty much whenever you want, like at will. Sometimes during like takedowns, four like spider legs will grow out of it for the attack, which is cool.
That is
Uh,
cool. I never experienced
yeah,
that.
and then for the bodega cat suit, you have one takedown where like it's the takedown where like Miles will like hover over someone and then touch them with the venom and like blast them to the ground. Uh, which is like one he has for all of his suits, a takedown. But when you do it with this suit, the cat will jump out of the backpack, land on the enemy's chest, smack the enemy in the face with his paw, and then go back in the backpack. It's awesome.
That's funny.
And then of course the Into the Spider-Verse suit. Love it. Love that movie. Love the suit. It's great.
Yeah, whatever. I said great.
Yes. Anyway,
I'll talk about this.
challenges.
The challenges, similar to Taskmaster challenges, but instead run by Peter. Here I thought, hey, Taskmaster's gone. We don't have to do that stupid bullshit anymore. And here Peter comes. He said, hey, I got a great idea from that guy who made me do all this. Taskmaster was helping Peter. Anywho, it's 10 challenges, 3 combat, 3 stealth, 3 traversal. They increase in difficulty and they have different like bronze, silver, and gold medals you get depending on what requirements they are. And then when you beat all of them, you have the final challenge that Peter set, which is the Vulture. It's like a programmed holographic Vulture boss fight. I was not a fan. I don't like recycling bosses. New game, new boss, buddy. We paid 40. Come on.
I like the boss fight. I think it was like a fun little thing. But
We already have to fight Rhino twice.
yeah, I suppose. But yeah, it is funny. Similar to Taskmaster challenges as well. These challenges are hard as shit. Like you have, like you said, the
I don't
bronze,
think they were
silver.
hard. The
Yeah,
stealth ones were hard. The other ones I beat like I thought they were jokes.
it's just like, let me rephrase that. Getting gold is hard. Beating the challenges itself is not. But it's just so
I
hard
stand
to
by
get
it.
gold. I just don't get it.
I got gold in all
I
of
got
them.
gold in one of them, and then other than that, like in the combat challenges, like I really struggled with these challenges. The exception, I guess, being the stealth challenges. I didn't really struggle with the stealth. The only issue is to get your bronze, silver, and gold, you have to uh do it in a certain amount of time, and that can get pretty tricky. But overall I don't enjoy the challenges. I didn't enjoy them in Spider-Man 2018. I didn't enjoy them in the Spider-Man DLC. I did not enjoy them here. It's like I did it for completion and that's it.
Same.
Anyway, This is just a side note. There are no surveillance towers. Noah, the surveillance towers of Spider-Man 2018, if you don't remember, basically like these police surveillance towers, you have to like hack into them because someone has already hacked into them. You have to fix them. And that's how you unlock the map. That's how like, you go from just this kind of blank area to actually the full city popping up. That's not in this in Miles Morales. You just get the map from the get-go, which I very much prefer that. I hate when you have to like do something to unlock a map in a game. I don't like that.
I disagree. I like having to open the world, because yeah, you can, and I do, you can go through and do all of them at once and open the world right at the get-go.
Oh, that's absolutely what I do every time. I'm just annoyed that I have to do it.
But it forces you to explore and check it out, and they don't take that long.
Well, I'll explore when getting all the collectibles. Don't make me do this extra thing. Anyway, that's just a small thing. So bases return. So there are Roxxon labs, and underground hideouts. There are, I think, two of each or three of each. There's three of each.
Yep.
And they're very like all of the hideouts in Spider-Man 2018 to me felt pretty much the same, but I liked in Miles Morales, they're actually different. They feel different, and they were different. For example, in Roxxon Labs, you're indoors, and they're more like stealth challenges. Like the Roxxon people have gadgets specifically tailored to mess with Spider-Man and to screw your stuff up. So it's definitely more worth it to go stealth based. Whereas the underground, and if you take out all the enemies with stealth, you can actually beat it that way. In Spider-Man 2018, a complaint I know you had was in an enemy base, if you took out all the enemies with stealth, there were still more waves of enemies you had to fight. So it's like, even after you took out that last enemy, oh, hey, here come a bunch more, and they just all know where you are, so now you're fighting.
Wow. Thank you for listening, Insomniac.
Yes, they listen to your complaints, Noah.
They listen to this podcast is what I'm saying. David, did you rip your headset out again? How could anybody listen to that?
I ripped my headset out
Stop
again.
listening, Insomniac.
No, Insomniac. No, we're sorry. No, it's cool. Insomniac, listen to us. We appreciate that, Insomniac. Been fans for years. Thank you for taking our opinions into account. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app. As
Another thing. I was gonna say this is another thing that they greatly improved.
Yes. So the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app, there are like, kind of like it was explaining the story, people can leave requests for Spider-Man. And there are all these like small little missions. Like, I don't know exactly how many there are, like maybe 10 or so. They pop up as requests in the apps, and the little requests are so, 10 minutes to beat them. They're usually like a fun, like little combat encounter or something else. But they were fun. I liked them. They were short and cool. Like, I honestly, I wish there were more of them. I was surprised when I got to the last one because I didn't realize there would be so few of them.
I enjoyed them. They had good rewards and fun stories in their little side quests.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Also, you have like your standard side missions. They are longer side missions, probably take you like 25-ish minutes to beat them, depending on the side mission itself. Unlike Spider-Man 2018, every side mission is a continuous little side story of helping the people of Harlem and taking on Kingpin's men, as it's revealed at the when you beat the last side mission that it was Kingpin doing it the whole time. In Spider-Man 2018, they did have two side missions that were part of like a little series. Like, there was a 3-mission set focused on Tombstone, and there was a 5-mission set of focusing on these stupid college students. I hated those. But yeah, in Miles Morales, it is actually its own little side story, and I do like that. I think it's
Wait, I like the
think it's cool.
Tombstone one.
No, the Tombstone one was cool. I'm saying like I like that the Tombstone one is a continuous story. I like that these side missions are continuous stories. I wish all of the side missions in Spider-Man 2018 were not necessarily one long continuous story, but at least some kind of linked continuous stories, because there were quite a few that were just one-offs.
Yeah, I like the system. I know I throw back to this game all the time, but actually I was gonna say Arkham Knight or Arkham City, in which they're like the side stories are all told in chapters, and broken up into each other. It makes it feel more natural, I think.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Also, Insomniac, they really listen to us. I'm so glad. The random crimes are improved so much from the Spider-Man 2018 Like it is unbelievable how much better this system is. Because one, they just are always there. There's not an amount you have to do like for any sort of completion really. The only reason that I did them was because of there is a trophy that you have to like complete all the side objectives in every one. But even then, that's nowhere near as annoying as the first Spider-Man 2018 because in the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app, you can literally just pick any of these and they will like, and you can do it at any point in the game.
It's like he said, it much improves upon it. It completely solves the issue that we had with it.
Yeah, like what? Like I had no complaints about it at all.
Also, there were much less of them, but there was much less of everything.
So now we're moving on to the collectibles, Noah.
Yay.
So once again, much like everything else, not as many collectibles as Spider-Man 2018. First you have the time capsules, which are a bunch of random stuff Miles and Finn hid when they were younger. Really kind of silly to me how ridiculous places some of these are, considering that they put like Miles and Finn supposedly put them there when they were younger, and that's it. Like, yeah, they were younger, and neither of them had any superpowers. It's like the backpacks in Spider-Man 2018 made sense because he was Spider-Man when he put them up there, so it makes sense that they could be where they are. But in this, that's kind of out the window. But whatever. Then there are audio samples from Aaron and Jeff Davis's younger days. I thought these were sometimes cool, sometimes not. They could be kind of hard to find on occasion. But it's cool. You're taking samples to create like this, mix that they had when they were younger. It was cool. I like music.
Next.
The underground caches, the crime syndicate, like little chests that have like tech that you steal from them and gets you tech tokens, which are used for upgrades. Another thing that is very much simplified from the first game, I think for the better, there are way less token varieties. You have activity tokens and tech tokens, and that's it. The like Spider-Man 2018 had like 6-7 different types of tokens. Yeah, I like the simplification of it. And then postcards. These are left by Miles's dad, just strewn around the city. It's a post-game activity. You don't unlock them until after you complete the story. But it's just a nice little like going to all these places from Miles' childhood, and you get to hear little narrations by his dad. Pretty cool.
I never actually collected any of those. The only ones I collected were the underground things because they affected gameplay. The other story things aren't closely related enough for Miles for me to, or closely related enough to Spider-Man for me to be interested in them. They're all about Miles as a person.
Anyway, so now we move on to notable trophies. I do have the platinum, Miles Morales. No, you don't.
Yes, I only platinum games I love.
Oof. It wasn't too bad to platinum. It was, I think it especially due to just the fact that the game is shorter, but a few notable trophies. Number 1, best fries in towns. Pay your respects to a legend in the Upper West Side. In the Upper West Side, you can find a statue dedicated to a certain fry cook played by Stan Lee in Spider-Man 2018.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It was a cool little nod to him. Then there's socially acceptable. Scroll through the entire social feed at the end of your story. Something we did not talk about. There is a social feed in the menu.
I didn't even know this.
Yeah, it's like because like Miles has a Twitter, like a Spider-Man Twitter. It was his business Twitter, and there's just like mentions and stuff. You can scroll through, read them. I did not read a single one. I just scrolled through after the story to get the trophy. Really annoying because it scrolls slowly and it is long. Like it probably took a minute or longer just holding the right stick down to scroll through this social feed.
It's a little bit too much.
And then plus complete the game on New Game Plus. I hate when games have trophies to beat on New Game Plus. Don't care what the game is, don't care how much I like the game, don't care how much fun it is, how much I like the New Game Plus. I don't want to be forced to play through a game entirely a second time. Unless like I want to play it. And it is very much helped again by the fact that Miles Morales is such a short game. Like the actual main story itself is not even like 15 missions long. Like I did the entire New Game Plus playthrough, going loud, not really taking my time with anything, in like maybe 4 hours. It was not long at all.
Wow.
But once again, just it's very it's like I don't like the trophies. It just helps. And then we move on to our questions. Favorite moment, Noah? Favorite moments?
My favorite moment was fighting Rhino the second time.
Really?
Yeah, like I said, I don't like that they recycle bosses from the first game that we just fought and put away, like have somebody else break out or something. Or maybe somebody like Electro who didn't really get a great spotlight. Anywho, but they made it interesting by giving him an upgrade with Roxanne technology. I thought that was really fun. I would have preferred it to be another character, but all in all, I still thought it was the best fight in the game.
Okay. My favorite moment would be just any time that Prowler Aaron Davis is on screen. I love the character. I love the dynamic that him and Miles have. I think it's really cool, and that's that. Nothing really more I have to say. It's just I just
Yeah, no, he's great. I get
cool.
that.
Yeah. Favorite boss battle? Noah, Roxanne Rhino.
Yep, that's it.
Roxanne Rhino. For me, it's the final boss fight against Tinkerer, Finn. I think the boss fight is a little too long. It's like 4 stages. I think they could have cut off one stage and it would have been fine. But I think it's really cool. It's very cinematic. Nice moments. Like there are like times when she's like throwing these giant saw blades at you, and every time you dodge them, it's like a very kind of cinematic dodge. It just I really liked it. I think
That
it was a
was
cool
really cool,
climactic
actually.
fight. Yeah. What we didn't like about the game, I'll say my things first. One, we like 2 things we kind of talked about earlier. Abilities locked behind New Game Plus. We talked about it earlier. I just think that's dumb. Like, let me get the ability. You can go now. That's all I had.
Yeah, I was my problem is less gadgets also. Like it's like other games obviously have a problem with this where when you introduce things and then you have a sequel, it's like you have to keep all the things and have them at the base, have them at the start. And when you don't have those things, it feels like you already are a downgrade from your previous game. It already feels like less quality, even though it's not really.
I get what you're saying. But yeah, no, less gadgets. It's just kind of lame. The gadget quality as well is down. Like I'd be fine with less gadgets if the gadgets were cooler, but they were really not. Also, my third thing, combat difficulty. One of my complaints about Spider-Man 2018, which is fixed in Miles Morales, is stealth. I felt like in Spider-Man 2018, stealth was very much like any kind of stealth sequence was kind of optional. I felt like it was very I don't want to say tacked on, but unnecessary. And I felt like I didn't have to be stealthy. But in Miles Morales, I did. Like I felt like I had to be stealthy. It was actually beneficial to be stealthy compared to like going in loud. And part of that is because I just don't like the way the enemies work, where I think they get partially I guess due to the story itself being shorter. Again, the enemies get like way better gear, way faster, like way earlier in the game. Like specifically I'm thinking like when like the Roxxon guys, like all their gadgets and stuff specifically exist to just ruin your Venom abilities. There is never really an introduction to what they do. It's just stuff you have to learn as you're fighting. And it was just like I just didn't enjoy it. Like I felt like it was very annoying. I guess it's like I can't think of a good word for it. It was just like I said, just amped up too fast for my liking. Noah, do you have any comments?
No, hold on, let me get rid of this damn cat. No, I don't have any comments on that. I did struggle with combat sometimes because you're right, their technology did advance really fast and it did everything to stop you. And I was playing God of War and I felt like if you turn the difficulty up too high, Kratos doesn't feel like Kratos because he's the character, the enemies don't like react to your punch. Kratos feels weak. And in that sense, I thought Miles just felt weak compared to Peter. I felt like with Peter, he was beating the crap out of everybody the entire game. But I always felt Miles was like back on one foot.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And maybe they did that on purpose. But
it does make sense story-wise,
Yeah. It also like comes into play speaking of earlier talking about me using the Venom abilities much more than the suit abilities in Spider-Man 2018. It was really annoying. Like I found myself healing a lot more, which annoyed me because it's like, well, I didn't use the suit abilities in Spider-Man, but I almost never had to heal myself. And here, I want to use these Venom abilities. I think they're cool, but I have to heal because I'm gonna die. So yeah,
Yeah, I do. That's how I felt also.
yeah, like that's an issue I have, but I also feel like it's not an issue that will be present in Spider-Man 2. So I don't really put that much flack
I'm,
into it.
yeah, we'll talk about that sooner than later, I'm sure. I'm just really excited to see what it's gonna be like.
And replayability?
I know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I wouldn't replay Spider-Man 2018
Yeah, I get what like considering
unless it was
Spider-Man
had been a
2,
really long.
considering Spider-Man 2 is so far away, I might replay through them when Spider-Man 2 is coming out. But yeah, that's a maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I think that's all we have to say about Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah, not as good as Spider-Man 2018, so that makes it only like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, what a bunch of losers.
Right, basically a failed game. Anywho, that brings us to the indie bit. The bit where we talk about indie games.
Yay!
Yes. Today we're talking about The Wolf Among Us. The Wolf Among Us is my single favorite Telltale game. It was a series of 5 episodes developed from a comic made by Vertigo, which is DC owned. And it's basically about like fairy tale characters in like, it's basically, Paige said it, she said it's basically like grungy Once Upon a Time. And it really is.
I do just want to interrupt you for a second. I was going to say later in my discussion of the game when I talked about it that very much this to me was a more adult version of Once Upon a Time, which I love when people take kind of like those fairy tales and change them, retell them in like a different way. That's why Once Upon a Time hooked me for so long, and that's very much why I initially was very hooked with Wolf Among Us. It's cool. Continue.
Yeah. So, it's you play, I'll talk about the story synopsis, I guess. So you play as the big bad wolf, who is the sheriff of is it just Fabletown?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I knew it was something like that. And so Ichabod Crane is the mayor and Snow White is the deputy mayor.
Well,
And,
that's not
oh,
true. Ichabod is the deputy mayor to start out with. The mayor
oh,
is Old King Cole, who is away for some reason.
I literally never picked that up ever.
It's very much mentioned in passing.
Wow. Yeah, and I felt like they always just regarded Ichabod as the mayor. Anywho, so basically there is a series of murders and suspicious events involving characters like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Grendel.
Which one were you, D or dumb?
I was D.
Cool.
Yeah. Anywho, so different characters like that, and it goes through a story while Big B Wolf is investigating. All right, he's basically the person who is in charge. So Big B Wolf is obviously the big bad wolf, and these characters disguise themselves as humans using a spell called Glamour, and it's basically like treated almost like a drug in this world. So do you want to talk about you just finished it, right? Do you want to talk about the plot twists, I guess?
Yeah, for our listeners, I had to play this game from scratch for this episode, and it's a bit of a longer game. Telltale games are longer in terms of mini games because it's 5 episodes, and each episode is roughly 2 hours, so it's about a 10-hour experience. It took and I finished it literally 30 minutes before we started recording episode 5.
So you're still like reeling?
Oh yeah.
So what do you think?
It probably is my favorite Telltale game as well. And
Really?
I have played a lot more Telltale games than you have.
That's really shocking for me to hear because I've been telling you this for years that this game was so good.
Well, I've been like, it's been on my list for years. I just kept pushing it off. But it like I said earlier, the modern fairy tale characters where the stories are like slightly different than everyone knows them. With Once Upon a Time, like that shit hooks me. I love it. And it did it way better than Once Upon a Time. And it's obviously more adult. and it's based on a comic series, obviously, that I really want to read now. And
Yeah, Vertigo
it is,
Comics. Do you know about it?
yeah, Vertigo. To me, I always knew Vertigo as like the more adult DC comics.
Exactly. It's
Like
like
Sandman is
DC's
a Vertigo
darker
comic,
cousins.
and
Exactly.
that's how I've always seen it. Yeah, that's what it is. It works really well. The the story was really good. Unlike most Telltale games, the story pretty much completely wraps up, which is nice because it does act as a prequel to the comics. So, they can only do so much in terms of their like openness with everything because of the fact that, well, all the stuff in the comics happens after this, so we can't be too, crazy with it. Uh it was great. That twist ending really had me.
Yeah, it's
Like the
one of those where I had to look up and be like, what does this mean? And that's like at the end of BioShock Infinite, I was like that.
yeah, I did look up just to verify what I thought the ending was. Like the one tiny cliffhanger to do with the rest of like,
Well, it's like they leave you on a clue.
yeah, they leave you on a clue, but the game itself is basically wrapped up entirely.
Exactly.
But anyway, it's really cool. I really enjoy it. It was so good. And it makes me excited for the sequel that hopefully will be good.
Wait, is there a sequel still in development?
Yes.
But who's developing it?
Uh, that's a great question. So, I did some research, It's been a long time since The Wolf Among Us came out. It came out in 2013, 2014. And, since it came out, Telltale Games released 3 seasons of The Walking Dead, 2 seasons of Minecraft, 1 season of Game of Thrones, 1 season of Tales from the Borderlands, 1 season of Guardians of the Galaxy. They got sued. They shut down. A different studio bought the rights. And that studio is making The Wolf Among Us Season 2, which as of now is scheduled for 2022 release.
But what is that studio?
I don't know the
Let's look it
name,
up.
but they're like it's basically just like it even says like they're just acting as Telltale Games. Uh,
Oh, really?
yeah, like I think when it's released, it'll still say Telltale Games, even though it's technically
That's
not.
weird.
But I forget the new studio that owns the rights. They are working with another studio. I think it's like ACH something.
Uh,
That other studio is former Telltale employees. So it is, I think, very much still a Telltale game.
mhm.
Although one thing that's very interesting, all the episodes are being developed simultaneously, which is not how Telltale Games works.
Really? They do it one at a time?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's developed by Ad Hoc Studio, which is uh
It
it's
said a little
former
bit about them
Telltale
in there, huh?
former Telltale Game staff make Ad Hoc Studio. And then who is it? Where does it say that? LCG Entertainment revived Telltale Games. So it's like it's Telltale Games, but it's not. They're the publishers, not the developers.
What were they sued about?
It has something to do with the founder and his pay. Like he wasn't paid. Like some like early employee wasn't paid what he was supposed to be paid, and like sued them, and Telltale had to pay a bunch of money.
Oh
And
man.
and also their games were declining in sales over years because
Because they made 3 Walking Deads.
partially also their episodes some people think took too long to come out, too long of a gap in between.
I definitely would agree with that.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what's going on with the sequel, but like I don't know if they're following on along with the original plan that Telltale had, because Telltale had announced the sequel.
Right. I did want to talk about the style of the game.
The Telltale style.
No, like the art style.
Oh, okay.
Like the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, very love the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's great. What kind of vibe would you give the movie? I would say like 80s detective.
And that's exactly what I would give it. I mean, it takes place in the 80s.
Oh, I never got that.
Yeah, I looked up the comic series takes place in the 80s and the game takes place like I looked that up. It's not like super apparent in the game,
Got it.
but it does take place in the 80s, which I mean, I still very much got 80s vibes from it, and it is absolutely, I mean, it's a detective story. Like very much a detective story.
Yeah, it's a great vibe.
And also, the Telltale art style, which is kind of famous for what it is. it works very well when they, make it off of like graphic novels and comics and stuff because it looks very good. Like they
Right,
did they
exactly.
did like Game of Thrones, which looked kind of weird because they were using real people and their not very realistic looking art style. But yeah, it worked really well. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, like, it is my favorite Telltale game of all time. My second would have to be the Batman ones.
Um, I never played Batman Season 2. I only played the first one, and I
Okay.
personally did not love it. My second favorite would probably be Tales from the Borderlands. But we could talk about other Telltale games in the future.
I didn't love it.
Probably.
So what's the next indie
Um,
bit?
Noah, the next indie bit. Can you guess this one?
No.
The next indie bit is Legend of Korra,
Oh, okay, cool.
the game. Yeah, I was scrolling through the library, saw this, and thought I would love to talk about it. And I don't think it's a game we could do a full episode on.
No, definitely not.
So yeah, we'll be talking about the Legend of Korra game that came out in like what is like 2014,
Yeah, something
2015.
like that, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
And actually, it's a forbidden game now.
Yeah, you can't buy it anymore.
Can't buy
It's one
it.
of
Only
those.
we
Yeah.
own it. We're special.
Yeah.
And it's a AAA high quality Avatar game.
Yeah, sure. We'll go. We'll use those words. We'll talk about it next episode. Which also, speaking of next episode, as we wrap up this indie bit, it's kind of just small little update here. Our next episode will actually be released on a Tuesday, not a Monday. It'll be released 15 days after this episode on Tuesday, October 26th, because that is the 1 year anniversary of our first episode being uploaded.
Yay.
So don't forget, new episodes every other Monday. Rate and subscribe. Tell us if you like our show or tell us if you don't, and tell us why. Tell your friends and enemies about the podcast. And you can follow our Instagram, the Super Gamer Bros, for updates on episodes. And yeah, we'll see you guys next game.
Bye.